So welcome to the Daily Antidote of Song on the third year. We're getting into our third year, and this is my first time to get a chance to host, and I'm so excited. But if I make a mistake, you have to forgive me because I'm this thing, and I'm seeing all of these friendly faces that are popping up on the screen. I have to say hello to everyone. So we're going to say hello to our fearless leader. To Joe and Katie for doing the tech, and of course our special guest. So we'll talk about a bit for Joe Jencks. We'll talk about him in big, a big way in a few minutes. And Brian over there, McLaughlin, and Alicious, and then we have Arlene from Berkeley, California, and Jenny from Suffolk, UK, and Delhi, and
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear you. Could you please repeat what you said?
that's my Siri over there. No, where were we? We were over at Sheila in Florida, and Deborah in Kentucky, and Pauline in Newcastle, and Carolyn, and Jane, and Susan in Tacoma Park, and Dan, okay, and Susan, and Lynn in Vermont, and Amanda and Miles in Michigan, and Ruth in Binghamton, and then Kathleen and Katie and Karen, and we have Christina and Bonnie, and we go on to the next page, and there's more. And Jamie, good to see you, and Victoria, and Annette, and Ralph, and Susan Miller, and Harriet, and Jim, and Sarah, and Kathy, and Cricket, and Linda, and Jane in Texas, and Kevin, good to see you, Kevin, and Nancy, and Curly Tops, and Bob with coffee. Massachusetts. You have your coffee, Bob. All right. And Carol. And then we have Anne in Maryland, and Huda in BC, and Harriet. Oh, good to see you. And we have Lynn in Vermont, and we have Brown in Victoria, BC, and Dick and Kathy in Victoria, and Sarah, and then Lorraine, and have LMG, and Sarah. And we have another screen with back in New York City, and Sarah Page, and Kathy, and her iPad. Cricket is back again, and Linda, and Jane in Texas, and Nancy. It looks like some folks are popping up again on the screen. And Carol, did I miss anybody here? Let's see. We have Sarah, Lorraine, and we have Fred Silver, and Bob in Albany, New York, and Amos, and Maybell. And I think that we have everyone. Did I miss anyone? Miss Storm. Storm. Good to see you, Storm. And I think we have most of the people here. Did I miss anyone? This is
No, you didn't.
exhausting, boy.
You're good to go.
Good. Well, I'll tell you, it was really, this is the exciting part. Was like, I have to remember everybody's name because it reminds me of Romper Room. How many people remember with the magic mirror? And that you had to look in the mirror. And if you were a little kid and then she didn't call your name, you were like, hey, I'm here. So I just want you to know that we're just so glad that you are here today. And I am very, very pleased to have the Facebook group joining us also. And so we have a very special guest here that I want to make sure that we talk a little bit about Joe Jencks. I mean, what can you say about Joe? I mean, Joe is, he's one of those people. There are folk singers and then there are people singers, and Joe is a people singer. He gets out there and he does the hard work. He's out there performing not just, the folk festivals, the coffee houses, but he'll be out there on a picket line. He'll be his voice where it really matters. And I've known Joe for a long time, and I'm so honored to have Joe here at the Daily Antidote of Song. How you doing there, Joe?
Hey, I'm doing all right, Rik. Thanks so much for having me, and thanks for hosting.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. And I know that we're going to have a chance to talk in a little bit, and I want to make sure that you get your song in because, that's the important thing. It's a song. What are you going to teach us?
Yeah, we'll chat in a little bit, and if there's time, I might even squeeze a short second song in somewhere later in the half hour. But this is a song called "For the Singing," and it's a song that I wrote. Just to give you a little backstory that nobody knows about this song, I wrote this song when I was 23 years old. It is probably the oldest song that is still regularly in my repertoire. And I think of it as if, like, the self that I am now had written a song and sent a care package back in time to the self that I was at 23. I was just going through a really hard time, and this song, I was moving out of an apartment. I was supposed to be out by midnight. I knew I wasn't going to make it. I got dispensation from the landlord to have till 10 in the morning the next day. I was packing up in Seattle and trying to get everything done, and this song came to me in the wee hours, and I pulled out a yellow legal pad and I started writing, but then I'd fall asleep at the kitchen table on the one chair that was left in the apartment. And I'd wake up and I'd keep scribbling some more because this song in that sort of liminal space between the conscious and the unconscious, between the sleeping and the waking world, I was receiving this broadcast from somewhere in the future that was this message to the self and to others as well. And I woke up in the morning and I looked at that legal pad, and it was shockingly cohesive and cogent for something that had been written piecemeal as I was waking up from a dreamlike state long enough to write different pieces of the song. And it took me years to really grow into the deepest understanding of what the song meant. And there are some days when I still feel like it was Dharma sent from somewhere. And I jotted it down, and it keeps teaching me. And so I may have sung this at some point during the pandemic with you, but in the spirit of honoring the last 2 years and what's coming up ahead, I thought we might visit this song. And it's possible that, we haven't sung this together, although it seems surprising. So I'll teach you the chorus. It says, "Do it for the power, and you'll surely be a slave. Do it for the glory, and you'll find an early grave. Do it for the laughter, and you'll surely find your smile. Do it for the singing, and you've gone the extra mile." Do it for the power, and you'll surely be a slave. Try that. Do it for the power, and you'll surely be a slave. Do it for the glory, and you'll find an early grave. Try that line. Do it for the glory, and you'll find an early grave. For the laughter. Do it for the laughter, and you'll surely find your smile. For the laughter. Do it for the laughter, and you'll surely find your smile. For the singing. Do it for the singing, and you've gone the extra mile. We'll put that all together and sing the chorus together. And do it for the power, and you'll surely be a slave. And do it for the glory, and you'll find an early grave. Do it for the laughter, and you'll surely find your smile. Do it for the singing, and you've gone the extra mile. As I was walking down the only road I knew, I came upon a place where that one road turned to two. I took the one that seemed less worn. I did the best I could, till I happened on a wise man all alone out in the woods. Well, he looked at me a moment, he looked up at the sky, he turned as if about to speak, but all he did was sigh. So I ventured forth the question, I said, surely you must know, will the road that I now travel take me where I want to go? Do it for the power, sing it. He said, do it for the power and you'll surely be a slave. Do it for the glory and you'll find an early grave. Do it for the laughter and you'll surely find your smile. Do it for the singing and you've gone the extra mile. Many moons have come and gone, now and then I go astray, but I come back to the path, 'cause for me it's the only way. Where I do not have much money, but I find I have more time to seek the answers that I need in the eyes of those I find. And they say, do it for the power. They say, do it for the power and you'll surely be a slave. And do it for the glory and you'll find an early grave. And do it for the laughter and you'll surely find your smile. Do it for the singing and you've gone the extra mile. They say, do it for the power and you'll surely be a slave. And do it for the glory and you'll find an early grave. Do it for the laughter and you'll surely find your smile. Do it for the singing and you've gone the extra mile. One more time, ready? Do it for the power and you'll surely be a slave. And do it for the glory and you'll find an early grave. For the laughter. Do it for the laughter and you'll surely find your smile. Do it for the singing. For the singing, for the Daily Antidote of Song. Y'all have been singing together for over 2 years and bringing so much hope and connection and joy and meaning into the lives of so many people. And I am so grateful for everybody who's been involved in this. And yeah, keep singing. That's what I got to say.
Joe, you've been on here a lot of your performances, and you bring a light into the Daily Antidote of Song, from your sharing your music and sharing your thoughts. And a lot of people, they know about you. If they know everything about you, that you've won so many different awards for your songs and for the albums, and that you lead tours over to Ireland, that I'm sure that you're probably thinking about doing that again soon.
Yeah, I'm slated to go back to Ireland July 1st through the 10th, and it's possible I may have room for 2 people on that trip. If anybody here is just totally itching to go to Ireland, shoot me a note through my website. That's joejencks.com, JoeJenCks.com. And shoot me a note, and we'll be in touch. Yeah. So it's the world is opening up, and things are kind of. I can't say they're getting back to normal. And you'll note that I am wearing a blue shirt and using very intentionally a yellow capo here today. That's as close to the colors of the Ukrainian flag that I can get. But obviously, all of us are feeling the extraordinary heartbreak of what's going on in the world around us. And that's why we keep turning to song. And I wrestled. I'm working on a new album, and I really wrestled deeply with this. I don't know how to say it other than to say that I was stuck in trying to move forward with it because it felt frivolous to have the privilege to stand in this recording space that I've built in my basement and sing songs when there's so much hurt in the world, when there are so many people in pain and suffering and struggling. And I have the privilege to stand here and spend my days working on creating music. I just really got bogged down with that. And then I started singing, again, a song that I've known for years, but singing it in a different context. And I committed to recording it on this album that I'll be releasing later this year. And it was a source of hope for me to sing the song, and it helped me realize why we need to sing, why we need to give what we can. I'm not somebody who should be picking up a gun and going into a war zone. I'm not somebody who probably is even fast enough to be useful to pick up a medical bag and go into a war zone. I'm certainly capable of stacking boxes of food and supplies to go somewhere. But I realized that we're each given unique gifts in the world. We're each given unique opportunities. And part of our job is to figure out how to use our gifts in service to the greater good. And so I went kind of full circle from being completely stuck around not really feeling like my work is germane to the moment, to recognizing that my work is exactly what I have to give. The music is what I have to give. And President Zelensky's videotaped speech that was aired at the Grammys a couple of weeks ago, I think is what really kind of kicked me in the pants. When, this is another artist who became a politician, and now he's had to become a warrior as well. And yet the heart of the poet is clearly ever present within him, even amidst the war. And it dawned on me that what he was asking those of us to do that have the privilege of moving through the world with artistic talent, he was asking us to engage. And so I want to sing a song for you and with you. This was written by a fellow named Lloyd Stone, who was an elementary school teacher in Hawaii in the 30s. And he wrote this interwar, he didn't know there was another world war on the horizon, but he was reflecting on World War I and his desire that we know peace in our time. And he took a melody written by Sibelius in 1899, Finlandia, and he wrote a new set of words to them that are a hymn, an anthem for peace. And so I thought we could sing that. It's called This Is My Song. This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and nigh. This is my home, the country where my heart is. Here are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But other hearts in other lands are beating with hopes and dreams as true and high as mine.
My country's skies are bluer than the ocean, and sunlight beams on clover leaf and pine. But other lands have sunlight too and clover, and skies are everywhere as blue as mine. Oh, hear my song, thou God of all the nations, a song of peace for their land and for mine. This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and mine. This is my home, the country where my heart is. Here are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But other hearts in other lands are beating with hopes and dreams as true and high as mine. Oh, hear my song, thou God of all the nations, a song of peace for their land and for mine.
I think you're on mute, Rik. The most famously uttered words during the pandemic.
Oh, yes, yes. And I think, before you sing the first song again, so that we can get the chorus in our heads for the day, I just want to know, what kind of thoughts do you have for us now as we're entering this new time, where we are looking for this hope of coming out of this pandemic, but still scared for what may come up?
I remember the first serious conversation I had with Pete Seeger. It was at a people's music gathering in the spring of 2002. And I had known Pete for 4 or 5 years at that point, but that was the first time we ended up in a more relaxed environment, not at the middle of a rally or a protest or a festival. And we just sat down, the two of us, and talked for a good couple hours. It was Father's Day weekend, I think, that year. And I lost my dad when I was 19. This was, like 10 or 11 years after that. And we were just having a conversation about what it meant to be men in the world in a different way. And he was telling me about what it was like for him to be involved in World War II, but the ways in which he chose to be of service in very precise ways culturally. And y'all could look up more on that and read more on that. And Rik can probably explain more of that to you. But, in short, he helped organize cultural events for soldiers who were recovering from injuries. He moved around to military hospitals around the world, a lot in the South Pacific, as I recall. But one of the things that he imparted to me very earnestly in that conversation is that a song does not have to be about the revolution to be revolutionary. A love song is revolutionary. Tenderness is revolutionary. A good lullaby is revolutionary. There is something about creating art that is transformative. And my invitation to all of us, in the face of random violence, in the face of war, in the face of ongoing challenges as a result of the pandemic, as we have enough breathing room to finally grieve extraordinary losses, during the pandemic. Almost all of us have lost people. Some of us are in touch with communities that I'm numbering 70 or 80 people that I know now that died during the pandemic, during the height of the pandemic. And I'm learning to have a more collective relationship to grief, where I give myself space to grieve, but I have to grieve collectively. It's sometimes hard to grieve each loss individually, or it will happen in due time. But there's real work to be doing in the world right now. And what I want to say is basically what Pete said to me, which is the act of creating something, the act of making music, the act of engaging in art is a transformative and revolutionary act. And so we need to engage in that transformation. It also transforms us. It helps us do what needs to be done. And so singing is not an extraneous or frivolous activity. It is connected to the center of our breath. It invites us to breathe deeply into the moment. It's a meditative practice. I remember going on with a friend about, how he was such a good yogi and he was always meditating and doing his yoga. And I wish I had the discipline to engage in a practice. He said, "How long have you been singing?" I said, "Since I was in the cradle." He said, "Did it never occur to you that singing is your practice? That singing is the very center of practice for you? It is a meditation. It is breath. It brings us into the moment." And so my invitation to you, no matter what the chaos is that the world throws our way, is to keep singing and to recognize that it does not have to be a political song to be a powerful song. Those songs which invite us into ourselves, into the present moment, give us the capacity to notice where we might lend a hand in some useful way in the world around us, rather than being stuck or overwhelmed by our emotional experience of the world around us. Singing centers us and allows us to keep engaging. So I don't know a better way to celebrate 2 years now into the third year of Daily Antidote of Song than by continuing to sing. And thanks so much for having me here. And we'll just sing this chorus a few more times before we wrap up.
Sounds
But
good.
Rik, is there anything you want to say before we do?
Well, just that'd be great to listen to you tell stories and share your thoughts with us. And we wish we had more time. So I'm going to invite you to come on my radio show, so we'll spend an hour talking.
Absolutely. I look forward to it. That'll be grand. We've been talking about that for 20 years. So let's make that happen.
We'll make it happen. We'll make it happen.
That's great. Do it for the power.
They say do it for the power and you'll surely be a slave. Do it for the glory and you'll find an early grave. Do it for the laughter and you'll surely find your smile. Do it for the singing and you've gone the extra mile. They say do it for the power and you'll surely be a slave. Do it for the glory and you'll find an early grave. Do it for the laughter and you'll surely find your smile. Do it for the singing.
For the singing here on the Daily Antidote of Song.
Woohoo! Woohoo! Well, thank you. Thank you. All right, Joe Jencks. So make sure that you check out Joe's website. You have your website available, Joe?
Yeah, again, it's joejencks.com, JoeJencks.com.
Oh.
Be sure and check out Rik's website,
looks
too.
Yeah. It's rikpalieri.com, So Joe, it's always a pleasure, and we'd like to really thank you for, bringing in this third year. I mean, we're celebrating all the singers that have been, out doing the good work and keeping this dream alive of how important it is, the power of song, right? So I think that the clock on the wall is saying that we're running out of. So we're going to have to say goodbye.
Yeah, well, I also want to thank Joe Rossi and Carpe Diem Arts and all of the folks who have been volunteering their time and energy to work on the periphery here to keep Daily Antidote of Song going. And I also want to say thank you all for forgiving me in a different time zone than you, for frequently joining you with a morning voice. I do encourage you to catch one of my concerts in the evening, which is much more the time for singing. But yeah, what a pleasure to be with all of you. And Rik, thanks for all you do as well. Thanks for, those of you who may or may not know this, but Rik's show is consequential enough that his archives have been received by the Library of Congress, and are part of the archives in the Library of Congress as part of American folk life and culture. So you can learn more about that at the Library of Congress or from Rik. But it's pretty amazing stuff that Rik has been hosting these interviews for decades and has captured something phenomenal and unique in American culture and folk music. So thanks for all your work, Rik.
Well, thank you, Joe. And I guess now it's time to say goodbye to everyone. And I haven't done this before, but I'm going to try to do this. So we're going to say goodbye to Anne in Maryland. Bye, Anne. Okay. And Jane in Texas. And say goodbye to Pauline in Newcastle. And Mabel and LMG. And to Cricket. Goodbye, Cricket. And to Linda. Okay. To Diane. And to Huda, we'll say goodbye to you. And to Deli, say goodbye. And Christina and Bob, goodbye. And Karen in Oregon, goodbye. And Sherry in New Hampshire, so long. And Dick and Kathy in Victoria, we'll see you again. And Lynn in Vermont, goodbye. And Curly Tops, we'll say goodbye to you. And Bob with Coffee, we'll say goodbye to Bob and to Nancy and to Ray Rossi and to Sarah. And we'll say to Lorena and to Fred in Silver Springs and Bob in Albany, New York, and to Amos and to Jane. And we're going on to the next page to say goodbye. All right. And Kathy and Sarah Page. Okay. And did I miss anybody to say goodbye to? Paula, I think. Let me page. All right. And Ralph. Whoop, where did Ralph go? And Victoria. And Susan and Seattle. And Jim in New York City. And Sarah in Texas. Let's see. Seeing anybody else? Jane? All right. Amanda, Miles, and Michigan raise their hand. So long. All right. Anybody else that we missed today?
How about Brian in Maryland? Bye, Brian. And Arlene in California. And I'm not sure if I'm getting everybody either. Storm in Massachusetts. And Jenny in Suffolk. Sheila in Florida. Deborah in Kentucky. Carolyn in Boise. Susan in Tacoma Park. Dan in Virginia. Susan in Ohio. Amanda and Miles again, Michigan. Ruth in Birmingham. Kathleen in Albuquerque. Kate in Charlottesville. Now I'm probably just repeating people. Storm in Mass, Bonnie in Idaho. Rik, thank you so much. That was so great. I know. Let's say goodbye to Facebook, everybody. Bye, Facebook. Bye.
Goodbye.